charmed ones, and welcome back to my channel for another video. So in today's video, I'm going to be answering the question that I see often asked in the planner community, which is, what do you do with unused planner inserts? As planner people, I'm sure that we've all faced this dilemma at one point or another where we skip planning like a day or a week or a month or maybe even more. So we have a bunch of unused inserts in our planners. Now, of course, if you're using undated inserts, it really doesn't have the same effect on you, right? Because if you're using undated, you can just go ahead and pick up where you left off with no problem. But really, I think this is an issue for people who have like dated calendar or agenda inserts in their planner. And when you skip a period of time, you have just like blank inserts that seemingly have no purpose in your planner anymore. And I know for a lot of us in the community, myself included, sometimes this situation can become a little bit daunting for us. When we skip using our planners or we miss using part of our inserts, right? I think that it's very common for some of us to feel a little bit of like guilt or like planner shame because we feel like we have wasted pages, maybe we feel like we've wasted money, or we feel like we're like a failure for skipping or not continuing on our planning. So if you feel that way when you skip on your inserts, totally you are not alone. Myself and many others in the community, I'm sure, are right there with you, that it feels a little bit uneasy for most of us when we don't use our planners consistently. So I brought up this topic inside of my productivity and planning mastermind group recently. And some people said that when they missed using their inserts, they feel like that they wanted to actually avoid their planner or to like stop using it entirely and start with like a completely new planner fresh. And this brought up a very interesting conversation and point to bring up in this video, which is that first and foremost, if you skip using your inserts for any period of time, a day, a week, a month, months, maybe years, who knows? Before understanding what you should do with those blank inserts, I think it's important for you to ask yourself why they were skipped to begin with. So specifically, ask yourself if the inserts and the planning system that you're using are working for you or not. Because a common reason that people I spoke to missed out on using inserts in their planner was because the system of inserts that they were using or the planner that they were using itself were just not right for them at that time. So if you fall into that category, you should definitely analyze what is missing from your system that you could perhaps add and what inserts you might not need at all that might just be superfluous for you. Now, I know that many bound planners come with like non-negotiable inserts, right? So you really can't add anything in, but if you wanted to, you could remove excess inserts if you didn't want to like repurpose them so they're not like holding up space in your planner if that's something that you struggle with. So this is actually why I'm someone who chooses to use a customizable system so that I can add and remove specific pages to my planner as necessary to create my own custom planning system. So I also happen to use like a set of functional planning inserts, which are a little different from like the standard set of inserts that you'll find in like a bound planner or calendar system. My calendar and agenda inserts come from my master plan system as well as other systems that I have in my shop that are all print at home inserts. So I can pick and choose like what insert designs I want to use and just print out what I need and put it in my planner. So I never really have a situation where I've got like extra inserts in my planner that are like not going to be used at all. And that's just something that works for me. So I'll leave a link down below in the description box of this video so you can check out my system. I'll leave you links for all the different pieces that I use so that you can get an idea of my system and what you might want to be using for your system. Okay, so now let's say that you analyze why you didn't plan for that period of time that you skipped, and it's not the system itself, right? So you know your system is okay. It was just that perhaps like life got busy, something popped up that triggered you to like take your focus away from your planned actions and your planned tasks. Or perhaps you're someone who just like went on vacation, right? Or took like a week off. And so you didn't really need your planner, right? So once you know what the reason is that you can like identify, like the rationalization that we've made, and it's like probably a legitimate reason, right? I suggest writing down that reason in your planner inserts for that week, right? So I think it's important for us to actually keep track of what the reasons were that we weren't planning. And that helps us to either like learn to take better action when planning in the future, or it helps us to adjust our expectations when we're planning in the future so that the next time like that trigger comes up, we don't have to feel bad if we miss planning, or when that trigger comes up, we can maybe come up with a plan of attack to like stay focused on our planning even though we're getting distracted by said trigger. There is a quote from Voltaire that one of my mastermind sisters, Maggie, brought up in our mastermind group. And it says that perfect is the enemy of good. And I think that that is a great quote to keep in mind when it comes to setting expectations, not just with planning, but in life in general as well. We never want to let our idea or our expectation that we want certain things to be a certain way, like a certain way would be perfect. We never want that to stand in the way of us setting reasonable expectations where we can get good results, right? Because oftentimes good or good enough really does get the job done, and we don't have to burden ourselves with like extra stress, extra pressure, extra expectations that are really just going to cause us to get into a stalemate or not take action or build up a lot of fear and anxiety where something like that is just not necessary. When it comes to using or not using your planner, I live by the philosophy that your planner is a tool. And with any tool that you have in life, there is going to be a specific objective that you're going to be using it for. And it's okay if you're not using that tool all the time, as long as you're using it when you need to help you reach whatever objective it is that you're trying to set for yourself. But if you find that you are having issues because you should be using your planner and you're not, perhaps you're not in the habit of using it yet, or you're struggling to learn how to plan, then that's something that you're going to want to address separately, right? Because if you're someone who does want to use their planner and you're just not in the habit, you might have to lean into additional strategies, like maybe setting like external alarms like on your phone or on your computer to remind you to plan on like a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, whatever reoccurring basis works for you. And then you have to keep yourself accountable to that system that you put in place to make sure that you're actually checking your planner and getting things done. We learn to integrate new habits like planning by taking accountability and making the effort in whatever way makes sense for us. So stop thinking that planning and routine building are a one-size-fits-all experience, because they are most certainly not. Now, to round out this video, I wanted to share some additional ideas about how to use those blank calendar inserts that came from myself and some more members of the Productivity and Planning Mastermind. So if I personally skip inserts, I like to follow my earlier advice of writing down what it was that prevented me from using my planner during that period of time so that I can learn to adjust either my actions or my expectations in the future around my plans. I also, when necessary, will go ahead and write in tasks or scheduled events or things that I did during the week after the fact. So that might not be planning per se, but it is tracking. And I do think that when we track our actions, that can be a very valuable piece of information to have for reference in the future when we're making our plans. So if that's something that works for you, I definitely recommend filling in the blanks of things that were important that you got done, just so you have that information for reference. Now, another one of my mastermind sisters, Jen, she mentioned using the previous blank months in her planners to make lists. So she likes to list out things like the contents of her refrigerator and pantry for meal planning. She also likes to keep track of like videos and different things that she wants to watch that are about planning and goal setting and productivity. And she'll even use like empty weekly inserts as an opportunity to plan with washi, where she might not really get an opportunity to do that in the rest of her planner if it's focused on function and tasks. So that is another way that you could be using those blank inserts, right? Either for functional lists and adding notes and additional space for things like that, or to get creative and use your planner as a little like craft project to kind of fill in that blank space to make the most of it. Another one of my mastermind sisters, Elle, she actually plans digitally, and she mentioned that on this topic, her struggle was more about using her planner over the weekend. So she and I were discussing how I too very often will not use my planner on the weekend, especially if that's a weekend where I don't have a lot of things that I have to do work-wise. But she said that for her, she does have things to do work-wise. And I just think that maybe if you're someone who struggles with planning on the weekends, if you're like Elle, then perhaps you might just be in the mindset or the mentality that like a weekend is time off, right? So that's just something, again, where we need to train ourselves out of it and maybe setting an alarm for like Saturday morning to check your planner, right? That is something easy that we can do to remind us, hey, you know what? You have work to do this weekend. Make sure you check your planner. There's important information there that you need to reference. So that is how I and some other planner buddies of mine inside of the Productivity and Planning Mastermind use blank inserts when we, skip a week or skip a month in our planner, which absolutely happens very regularly, even for me. Now, it's your turn. In the comments, I want to know, number one, if you struggle with skipping days, weeks, months in your planner, and what you think the issue is that you are facing based on what we talked about in this video. And I also want to know, if you do use your blank inserts, right? Like maybe you bought a planner and there's previous months that are blank, or if you skip using inserts and you go back and fill them out, let me know what you do with them so we have, a running list of some more inspiration and ideas for the community to draw from. If you're curious about the Productivity and Planning Mastermind and you would like to join a group of like-minded women who are all learning to plan and organize and live their lives better together, then go ahead and check out the link I will leave in the description of this video where you can become a part of that membership and join me for additional productivity and planning information and lots of awesome free goodies and masterclasses throughout the months. For more of the behind the scenes of my productivity life and business, make sure you're following me on Instagram at MissTrenchcoat. And if you're not yet subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button for more awesome videos by me. And until next time, bye-bye.